What's up, Trailmakers? My name is Whemplar, and today I'm teaching you how to build this Flying Mech Suit. Let's get right into it. So, first of all, we're gonna build the body, and we of course need a seat. So here I'm going with the operator seat. It's important that we actually go into the settings of the operator seat and we disable air control. This is just to make sure that our seat controls don't interfere with the other controls that we're adding. Now that we have our seat fully configured, we're actually going to go ahead and add a weight block, the 30 kilo one to be exact. This is actually going to make our mech suit more stable in the air by moving our center of mass upwards. And with our weight placed down, we're going to go ahead and go into the mechanics tab, and we're going to add a gyro right here. And this is actually not going to have any controls on it whatsoever, because this is just to dampen movements, not actually to control anything. So we're going to make sure that we copy it and add one like this. Then we're going to add two more just like this, just so we have all those three axes of motion there. Now that we have this, we're going to go ahead and add some grid blocks, 1x4s here, and we're going to place them just like this. And then we're going to go ahead and add our first thruster, which is going to be a dragon jet. We're going to place it just right here beneath our character, and that looks good. And then we're gonna go ahead and add a 2x2 here, and this is gonna become the connection for our leg joints. Then to fill in the gap right here, we're gonna add some 1x2s, just like that. We're gonna add a NOR gate right here for later purposes, and we're gonna end this section off with two 3x1 wedges, right like that. Now that our build looks like this, we're going to go ahead and add two OR gates, and we're going to place them right like this. And then another OR gate on the one side. So we can place it like right here, and then one NOR gate right there. That looks pretty good. Then we're going to go ahead here and add 1x2 grid blocks, just like this, and then copy it over to the other side. And then once we're at it here, building the sides, we're also going to add some thrusters. And we're just going to place them just like this, just making sure that they're actually connected to the body. Now it's actually time to add our servos. So we're going to once again go into mechanics here, and we're going to add the rotating servo right here. And we're going to have it right here, and then we're just going to copy it and add it right up here as well. And this is starting to look like a pretty decent torso. Now for the legs, we're first of all going to start with two 2x2 wedges, just like this, just to make sure that we have something to attach them to. And then we're going to add some large hinges. We're just going to copy them like this. We're actually not going to bother with the keybinds on pretty much anything of this, since we're going to set that up a little bit later. Then for the thighs here, we're going to once again use some 1x2 grid blocks, place it in an upright orientation like this, and then just copy them right over to here. Then for the knee joints, we're once again going to use some large hinges, just like this, and we can just copy it like this. Then here, getting started on the foot, we're once again going to use some 1x2 grid blocks, and we're just going to copy them just like this. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to add some more dragon jets. And we're going to rotate them like this. And the orientation is actually pretty important, since we're going to attach the foot to it. So make sure that it points like this on this foot, and then in this orientation on that foot. And then we're just going to go ahead and place them right here. And they're not attached right now, so we should probably fix that. So let's go into blocks here and add some 2x1 shields. Just like that. And then we're just going to go ahead and copy it to the back as well. Now for the heels of our mech, we're going to add some 2x1 wedges, just like this. Just make sure that you can actually stand up. And then for the actual foot itself, we don't really have to complicate it too much. So we can just add some slightly bigger wedges here with the 2x1x2s. And our mech is actually starting to look like something, which is good. You can just spawn in, just make sure that he stands up. And that's looking pretty good. Now for the arms here, we're going to add some steering hinges here. And we're going to make sure that the green direction is downwards. And just like that, we have our steering hinges, and the green direction is downwards on all of them. Then we're gonna grab our 1x2s right here. We're gonna make a little bit of an L shape, I guess you could call it. And we're gonna attach a 1x2 wedge right there. Then we can of course just copy it over to the other side. For the elbow, we're going with large hinges, just like this. And they're gonna be rotated like that. And if you want to copy them over, that's completely fine. But just make sure the green direction is the same one as the other side. So right here, they're different. So we're going to go ahead and rotate them like that. Then we're just going to go ahead and copy our 1x2s like that. Add 2 1x3 flat connectors, just like that. And then add some thrusters to the end of the arms here. And now that you have this section done, we can just copy it like that, and that should be symmetrical on both arms. And if we spawn in, we can see him in a beautiful T-pose, and it's looking pretty good. Now it's time to set up the logic so that our mech here can actually fly. And first of all, we're gonna select all our steering hinges right here. There should only be 4 of them, and go into settings. And first of all, we're gonna remove the controls here. We're going to set the angle to 75 degrees and steering help to 0. Then we're going to grab our NOR gate right here, and we're going to just make sure that it's connected to these 4 steering hinges. And if we spawn in now, we should see that our guy isn't T-posing anymore, and he actually has more of a proper stance. Now we're going to go ahead and select all the large hinges right here. We're going to remove the controls. We're going to set speed to 2, and angle is going to be at 30, and steering help is going to be at 0. Just like that. And the only exception here is actually these 4 large hinges right here. These are going to help with our yaw, which is the side-to-side movement. And we're going to make sure that those are set to Q and E. And then speed here, we're going to change to 0.5, and the angle to 25 degrees. And that looks good. Oh, are you okay? Now we're going to go into the settings on the rotating servos, and here we're going to go ahead and select all of them. We're going to remove the keybinds, and we're going to set the angle to 100 degrees. Then we're going to select this diagonal right here, so these 2. And we're going to go into settings, and we're going to set the speed to 0.3. For this diagonal, however, we're going to actually do the reverse, so we're going to set it to negative 0.3. Just like that. Now it's time to add some actual keybinds to our mech suit, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select this logic block right here, and we're going to go ahead and do S and W for the keybinds, and the output should be 0.3, and then we should select all the rotating servos with it, and those should be connected now. And now that we spawn in, we should see that he actually does this now, which should be enough to pitch us if we get off the ground. There we go. So now you see, if I can pitch up like that, and I can pitch down like that. Pretty cool. To add some extra detail to our pitching, we're actually going to go into our knee joints here, and we're going to select the red one here and press S. Just making sure that it bends backwards. And then for the elbows, we're going to do pretty much the same thing, but bending them forwards instead. So here we're going to look at it and see that it's the green arrow that is forward. So we're going to select all of these right here. And then we're going to do S on that one. And that just gives some more detail to the animation. For the roll, we're first going to select this logic block right here. And we're going to connect it to this servo and this servo. So this diagonal right here. We're going to do output 0.2. And for controls, we're going to have A and D. And then for the logic block on the other side, we're going to do pretty much the same thing, but we're going to connect it to this diagonal instead. We're still going to have the controls for A and D, but for our output, we're going to have negative 0.2 instead. And now that we spawn in, you should see that if everything's connected correctly, we should have some roll just like that. Beautiful. for our last controls, the yaw, we're actually pretty close to being done. This animation does work, but it's a little boring. To fix this, we're gonna go ahead and select these steering hinges right here. For the left one, I'm gonna have E on the red control, and for the right ones, we're gonna have Q. And that looks a lot better. To get some extra thrust, we're actually gonna go ahead and add just a few more thrusters right here. And they aren't actually attached right now, so to fix that, we're gonna go ahead and select our tubes right here and add the tube elbow, right like that. And what I like to do is that I actually go ahead and like copy them to the back as well, just to make them look a little better. Just like that. Now that we've placed all our thrusters, we're actually gonna go ahead and go into this logic block right here, the NOR gate. We're gonna change the output to 0.01, and then we're gonna select all our thrusters with it. Just like this here, on the feet, and don't forget the middle thruster that is right here. And what this does is that it just keeps our thrusters revved up, meaning our acceleration is a lot better than if we didn't do this trick. And now for the cherry on top, the helmet. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna first of all add a NOR gate right there. Then we're gonna go into our mechanics section, add 2 steering hinges like this, making sure that the green side is facing that way. We're gonna go into the settings, we're gonna remove all controls. We're gonna set the angle to 90 degrees and the steering help to 0. Then we're gonna go to the settings of the NOR gate. We're gonna make sure that left shift is our control. We're gonna have that on toggle and then select both our steering hinges. And now we're gonna add 2 rounded corners, 1 by 2. Like that. And then 2 rounded 2 by 1s. Just like this. And now if we spawn in, notice our helmet actually goes over our player's head. And if we press left shift, it goes up again. Very cool. Now our mech is almost finished, and we're only gonna add 1 more block, which is a 1 by 2 wedge right there, just to kind of smooth out the shape. So now it's finally time to paint the mech, and here I'm gonna go with a very simplistic paint job, but you can of course do whatever you want. So first of all, I'm just gonna go ahead and select our base color here, and for me that's gonna be gray, so I'm just gonna select that. Make sure that it's the clean skin. And now I'm just gonna add some orange highlights. So for example, the thrusters here on the back, go ahead and select them and add a little bit of orange. And maybe for the arms right here, just add some little color spots right there. Starting to look pretty good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and also paint the legs orange right there. And for the middle here, I'm actually thinking I might just do a little bit of a black accent color here as well, just to kind of differentiate the different parts of the mech. And now we're almost done, but the helmet is looking a little bit weird since it's just completely solid. So I'm gonna go ahead here. I'm gonna first of all make this just black, and I'm just gonna make color in these black as well. And now I'm gonna select these 2 pieces, the rounded 2 by 1s, and I'm gonna make them glass. And this looks really good just as is, but I want to add just a little bit more detail. So I'm gonna select my rounded 2 by 1 right here, and I'm gonna add a decal. And the decal I'm gonna add is the square shape right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and make it just a little bit bigger. We're gonna have it be black, and I'm gonna activate tiling. And that is what's gonna create our actual slit in the visor, so our character can actually see through it. And I'm gonna make the tiling offset until there's a gap in the shape that I'm happy with. So I go with something like this, for example, maybe a little bit smaller. So there. And then I'm just gonna apply it when I'm happy with the angle of it, and I think it looks pretty good right there. And if I want the exact same thing on the other side. I could try to recreate it, but a way easier way of doing it is just taking this one and then copying over. And as you can see, it has mirrored. I'm going to delete this block, and I'm just going to move this block over. And as you can see now, we have our really cool looking visor. And that actually concludes our mech build right here. So as you can see, we just hold space here, we can go ahead and take off, and we can just start going. And this thing is actually not that difficult to control. It can take a little time to get a hang of, maybe, but I think it's pretty intuitive, and you learn pretty quickly how to control it. And honestly, this thing is just a lot of fun to fly around in. Like, if you want to just go between those pillars right there. Maybe we'll go around the mountain a little bit. Do some cool stunts. Do a little bit of a backflip. Then I should be able to just kind of go through this tunnel as well here. Can try to not hit the walls, that would be cool. Nice. And if I'm good enough, I should actually be able to just land here on my feet. So let's see if I can get a nice ascent here. It's looking really good this far. Gotta try to slow down so I'm perfectly still here. Just try and tap my thrusters really. Perfect. So there we have it, people. A cool, agile flight suit that you of course can change or upgrade to your own liking. If you want to get my version of the mech, it's uploaded on the Steam Workshop. Just search for Whemplar's flight suit. If you want to check out my channel, that'll be linked in the description down below. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, make sure to like and subscribe to Flashbulb. But for now, this has been Whemplar, and I'll see you again the next time. Peace out.